This is Alex Lawrence with TelcoForge. I'm here with Capgemini Engineering and ST iDirect. Guys, you recently signed a collaboration. How does this align with a broader industry push towards standards-based, software-defined 5G NTN? And what impact does that have on the industry?
From iDirect perspective, you would want to be standards compliant, especially with 3GPP specifications, NTN now coming into it from the release 17 and going forward. The idea is to stick as close as possible to the standards, being whether it's 3GPP or ORAN or Open RAN part of it with respect to the disaggregated architectures. So that's where I guess what we bring in from the iDirect and a perfect blend with what Capgemini brings in from the L2 and L3 stack, where you would want to bring the ground segment G node B and eventually going into the regenerative part of it onto the onboard processing. And I think from the market perspective, I think there's a lot of demand in terms of the use cases that the customers are asking for. And B, as a joint venture, we should be able to deliver what they're asking for.
Yeah, so absolutely agreed with Shravan. So essentially, our collaboration is very much complementary. So the kind of leadership the ST Engineering iDirect has in the satellite communications is really commendable. So all the product lines like Velocity or Intuitions, which are already proven in the satellite communications, and now the satellite communications and the non-terrestrial network, like the terrestrial communications, all are getting converged. And as you know, right, within the Capgemini, we have been heavily invested on the standard-driven software since last 30 years. And we have proven our solutions on the terrestrial networks. And in last 3 years, we have matured our solutions, getting it ready for the non-terrestrial networks as well. So extending our solutions, and everybody is going towards the standard-based solutions because that's where actually the mass adoption will happen. The more it is standard-driven, the more adoptions we are expecting the market will take this.
And yeah, I think just to add that, even the interoperability part of it, right? Once we adhere to the standards and specifications, which opens up, it's not that there would be a vendor lock-in, even for the operator's perspective. They should be able to switch on and switch off from any other vendor. And that helps with respect to the disaggregated architecture, where you put the components wise, you would compartmentalize what you put on the ground and what you put on wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, like beyond this, also another area where we see a lot of synergy, the way today Intuition is built, it's already future-proof cloud-native architecture, right? And the way we are also bringing our 5G solutions, developing, that is also cloud-native, AI-native. So we see there is a lot of synergy in terms of the offering, and it perfectly matches. And so we can actually join hands and create a unique solutions which will help in this overall convergence too.
So you may have already addressed this a little bit, but what unique strengths do you feel like each partner brings to the table in this?
So I think iDirect has been traditionally into the SATCOM side of it. I think with 25 plus years of experience, what we bring in is a lot of enhancements, a lot of differentiators that we've been doing as part of the stack, whether it is a scheduler side of it or any other differentiators from the GNSS resilience part of it. There's so many things that we add as a satellite SATCOM ground segment provider and the modems, both on the UT side of it and on the network side of it. So I think that's the value that we bring in. And the way we would want to collaborate, or what we would plan to do, is get their expertise, which I know, Chinmoy, you were going to add on that, where we take that, combine it, frame it in such a way or package it in a way that would be consumable by the market in a more efficient way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are bringing the matured 5G, NB-IoT and NR-related software, which is very flexible to work on the transparent or region architectures for different various kinds of constellations, whether it's LEO and GEO. And more importantly, we are also probably would help with the thought process, the cloud native architecture fitment. Plus, there are certain autonomous network related concepts and frameworks which we are building, which will be very much relevant in the convergence area, be it SATCOM or terrestrial, doesn't matter. But overall, in the convergence area, that autonomous network components are also important. So all these things I see definitely complementary, and absolutely would love to, we'll proud to be part of the Intuition and taking the solutions together.
So I think on the Intuition, just to add, right, I think what we bring in the value, I think one is the architecture itself, right? And then the way we evolved I mean, we had multiple platforms supporting different waveforms and different orbits. I think the way what we're trying to do is get the best of the breed from all of those things. And that's why we are building the Intuition platform. And once we have the Intuition, which is, again, coming from a telco background where a lot of things have been done and executed and delivered successfully in the past 10 to 15 years, we want to bring that into the SATCOM side of it, where you would want to do auto scaling part of it. You pay as you use, and that's something which is a new concept. And also in terms of the licensing and how do you want to do the methodology of how you deliver it, right? As I said, we don't have to buy the capacity upfront, right? I mean, you could pay as you grow, and that is where I guess the stack expertise and what we try to do from our infra, it would all help onto us.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah.
So, which industries and use cases are going to benefit the most from this collaboration?
So essentially, if you really see the theme of this convergence, right? So when the satellite networks and the terrestrial networks are getting converged, so essentially we are solving a couple of problems. One is wherever the communication is needed or communications or connectivity is mission critical. So you absolutely dire need of communications. You cannot miss that. So that's convergence helped to address that particular communication needs. Secondly, there are certain pockets, geographies where there is no coverage today. So that coverage gap also will be eliminated through this convergence. And then third thing is that if there is a need like kind of a redundancy, resiliency in with the overall infrastructure, right? So you converge these two technologies and it creates a lot of resilience. So these are the kind of aspects or impact of this convergence, and the industries which will get benefited for these impacts, mostly the industries where you need ubiquitous connectivity, right? For example, maritime or aviations where you need this need these communications in a mission critical way or seamless mobility and user experience. So this is the industry definitely will be benefited. And also the oil and gas, mining, the difficult geographies, difficult terrains where there are coverage gaps or coverage is a challenge, right? So that will also get benefited from this convergence. And from resiliency perspective, public safety, ad hoc communications, or if there is a disaster, so there is no network or there is a network failure. So you create a resilient networks, you create another alternative redundant networks, and those industries will also get
Perfectly. Yeah. I think
high level. Yeah.
no, that's true. I think the network of networks, that's what we say, right? I mean, it's a backhaul. It's a disaster recovery part of it. I mean, these are the use cases which we would want to go. I mean, it's something there's a requirement by the market already, but how do you solve it, right? And how effectively you solve it. I think that's what matters. As I said, the resilience, backhaul, I think there are always the use cases for the maritime and aero part of it. So which is what, again, you go into the enterprise space, right? I think the enterprise use case is something which we would want to go after. And the other mix is where, how do you bring in the telcos, right? So the telcos, the SATCOM operators and vendors like us. So it's an ecosystem that we would all could work together, right? And then how does telcos in the, whether it's roaming between the telcos, that's what something which I would want to do it. And the other use case is even mobility within I would say SATCOM operators, which is not there as of today. It's, for example, if a user or terminal is there as part of one SATCOM provider, they cannot roam or move into the other SATCOM network, which is what another use case, which I would say imminent as of now. You do that now, and then go into 5G NTN, and then go into the mobility within TN and NTN network. So these are all the roaming and the mobility use cases which would become a reality with time. And I would say the window is maybe 2 to 3 years. I think that's what we need to go capture all these things.
Chinmoy, Shravan, thank you very much. And thanks to you for watching. We'll see you soon.